it was kind of cool to interact with the Japanese students, and I was like speaking in Japanese. Uh, and it was really cool, like when I was able to communicate like fully in Japanese, and then they were able to like reply, and it kind of got the feeling like they were able to understand what I was saying. It was like really cool.
Learning Japanese in a classroom, as much as it helps to sort of start building the bridge with other cultures, I think it connects it a little bit more when you're able to actually experience that in a somewhat firsthand way. And that was kind of really cool and interesting to be able to see that, especially see the way that they were so willing to help bring that, build that bridge as well, and to help us when we weren't understanding things, and also when we did understand things, how to like communicate together in a way, as opposed to in a classroom where we're learning to communicate with sort of hypothetical people. Now we're in the situation and we actually get to be with them and have those conversations we've kind of in a way been training for, in a sense, I guess. I also found that it helped to understand that the reason, like, they want to hear from me too, even if I don't make the right sentence, or I sound silly, or I have to take like an 8-second pause to try and figure out what it is I'm trying to say. It's so much better than sitting there and saying nothing. This is why I'm here. Not only am I speaking for my own improvement, but I'm also speaking for them so that they can learn and that we can work together on these projects. And I think that helped a lot as well to kind of break down that wall. And then I was able to speak a little bit more.
Helped me increase my Japanese speaking confidence. I feel like more so in like the SFU classroom, at least like online, for some things you can kind of prepare in advance, and you can, I don't know, for me, sometimes I would like prepare some sentences to say for like if you're, I don't know, doing a discussion that I knew about, or especially for like the role play, things like that. I can kind of write a bit of a cheat sheet for myself. But with a lot of the Tohoku stuff, it was more so like everyday conversation when we were like meeting in our groups. So yeah, I definitely got more used to just going in kind of blind. And that helps me definitely with my confidence in speaking in Japanese.
Like the overall positive thing, being able to sort of communicate with your peers, but not in the same level as you, and also communicate with new people. To some extent, every class that I've taken at this school, while it has improved my Japanese a lot, I am with the same people a lot of the time. And like a couple new people come in and some leave, but it's all the same. So it's really good to be able to get out there into that group of brand new people who also have a lot more understanding of the language than you do, so that they helped out a lot in making sure that you understand what it is that you need to say, and a little bit more about the best ways to communicate in regular conversation. Because even outside of when we were working on presentations, just being able to talk with them was really nice.
Yeah, so I guess like one of the big takeaways is just figuring out different ways of communication when you're communicating with people whose language you don't know super well, and they don't know your language super well, because there is a bit of that language barrier. So you have to really think critically about how you want to come across and how to make sure that you're coming across in the right way.
Number one, class was at 9 at night, so definitely like we were really all pretty tired, and like by that time, like your brain's kind of already like starting to shut down and getting ready for bed. And I know like I take like a shower before I go to class, so like my mind is like extra like tired. Uh, Sometimes it gets really hard to pay attention. Another one was I know the class, what was the title again? I remember like the class title is like Ibunka Rikai something something. So like understanding other cultures, but like our like topics for the presentation, the first one was about COVID. The second one was about gender. So like personally, I was interested because one, I get to like practice my Japanese, right? But number two was like so I could like understand what Japanese people do and their culture, but like there wasn't really much of that. And like during as we kept doing, or as not we, but as I kept doing working on the presentations and everything, it kind of became like sort of a drag because like what I wanted wasn't like there.
Other difficulties. So I'd say like the I was definitely not expecting like the level of Japanese. I don't know what I was expecting because obviously it's a university course at a Japanese university, but yeah, I was definitely reminded of how little vocab I know, especially because you know, with COVID, there's a lot of vocab that I wasn't familiar with, but I definitely, you know, started to pick it up as like the semester went on. So yeah, getting used to like the new like special vocab, especially like with gender as well. I didn't know a lot of these things. So that was also, I guess, maybe a benefit because I got to learn some like special vocab related to like COVID and gender.
I think that it works well to have that because it is a big jump from 300 up. I found it a little bit tricky at times. That was one of the obstacles, but I found it more of like an obstacle that I embraced a little bit, where I was sort of like, I'm going to, even though I don't know everything that's being said all of the time, it also helped me understand more of context things. And I think I've gotten a lot better at that, especially after leaving the class and like watching movies or TV shows and stuff. If I don't know what they're saying, I'm a lot better now at getting the context of what was said, even if I didn't understand it. I think because of this class. Um, Obstacle wise, I did find that the research was a little bit tricky just because it was all in Japanese, but I found it really interesting still, even as the experience, just because even though I didn't always know what was, you know, what we were reading, and I'd have to do a little bit of extra looking up to confirm and figure out what was being said. And the time management is super like severe, whereas here it's like, okay, plus or minus a minute is fine. It was like, no, you have to be like right on the minute, done talking. So that was really interesting to kind of learn. I didn't miss a couple more, but I think I got a little bit better with that over time and being more comfortable, my brain being more comfortable with being like, okay, you missed that sentence, I think this is what it means, let's move on and keep listening and find the things we actually understand, which was a lot better than like, you missed that sentence, what did it mean, oh, now you missed this one and this one. And I saw that that got better over time, which was cool.
Because when they were doing their presentations, they were like really serious about it, and they were really like working really hard. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, they're coming from like an Eastern, I guess, academic background. Like, I mean, it's very similar to. And I guess I kind of knew this as well. It was very similar to when I did a school in Hong Kong for a little bit, and you just grind. Like, you just have to have the mindset to grind work and do homework. I mean, and then comparing back to like here, even in the other classes, I do not see like group members and, you know, like if it was a team member or just any like other class, I do not see people trying this hard.
I definitely felt a bit of a difference, but not in intimidating in the sense of like the different language, yes, but like the people themselves, I never felt intimidated by them. I think especially this class breeds a sense of like wanting that communication, and it kind of breaks down whatever form of hierarchy that might exist in other classes, just because this is like intercultural competence. So they really wanted to hear from us, even when we didn't know what to say or we didn't have an opinion or someone else already said our thoughts. They really wanted to hear from us and for us to work with them, which was really interesting.
I would say the most enjoyable moments for me was like when I would be able to talk to my group members about things that like weren't about the project itself. So I remember once, like during our group meeting outside of class, it was like the attendance for like our like small group meeting, it was a little spotty. We didn't hear from a couple people. So I think for some reason at one point it was just me and like our like group leader. She just started like asking me questions about like hobbies and stuff and like why I wanted to start learning Japanese, and just having that like more personal connection that's not connected to like academics was really nice.
For me, I have two enjoyable moments, one of which is more related to like my progress in Japanese. When I've made silly mistakes that I realized pretty soon after were silly mistakes, instead of being embarrassed, I kind of found them funny at that point. Um, and like that was nice though, because I was like, I'm not embarrassed about making this mistake anymore. I can just laugh at it and be like, oh, haha, I know what you mean now. And oops. So that was kind of fun. The other was, similar to Aoife with that first group leader. We kind of stayed in contact throughout the whole course, even when we weren't in the same group project and stuff. And we talked a little bit about like shows we watch and stuff. And he talked a bit about wanting to practice English and stuff like that. And there was many times like, please, if you have any questions or you don't understand something, you can 100% ask me and I can help you.
For good moments, I would say like, I don't know, maybe when I was just practicing my Japanese and there was time for the presentation, and then like I had to say my part, right? And then we had to keep it in like, I had to keep my part in under like, I would say like, it was like a minute or 2 minutes or something like that. And then like we had a bunch of things written out, and then like I was practicing, and then I said it during the presentation, like I said it like really fast. I was like, yo, I was like rapping. It was kind of crazy. Like I was like saying, I was talking like so fast, and then I finished my part. I was like, yo, that was kind of crazy. What did I just do? I don't know. Like when we were just communicating in Japanese, and then like when they got what you were saying, like when my group members like Japanese group members got kind of understood what I was saying, and then it was kind of like a good feeling.
You are really looking to improve your Japanese, this is a great way to do it because it does have that, it has a bit of that like immersion aspect to it because everyone, the professor is speaking to you and presenting to you all in Japanese. She might throw in maybe a couple English words to kind of translate for you, but it's like really all in Japanese, and you're doing your presentations all in Japanese. Um, and yeah, just having that immersion is really probably like one of the best ways to learn. And the language jump, as we've mentioned earlier, it's definitely something that you have to get used to. But as time goes on, it gets a little easier. And at least from like my experience, my group members were really like, they're like, if I had any questions, they'd be really open to answering them.
If someone is actually like really serious about like their Japanese and wanting to improve, like definitely go take this or try this out. It's actually amazing for your Japanese. So yeah.
Be a little bit intimidating at first, but it really helps you to improve your confidence and to get more integrated in with the culture which the language you're learning comes from, which is 100% one of the best ways to learn a language. It's a really nice way to connect with new people as well and make friends from all over the world, which is in theory what learning a language is essentially intended for in that way, is to connect you with other people. And even though it can be a little bit daunting at first, you find and you can see yourself visibly improving over time throughout the whole class. And even though that first start can be a little bit scary, the end result of it is 100% the most important part.